What are some creepy and/or unsettling facts about space? Subscribe for more, and follow my Reddit page in the description to join in. The universe consists of filaments, which are the largest structures in the universe and contain almost all of the universe's galaxies, and voids, which are the spaces between the filaments, which on average have less than 10% of the normal amount of galaxies for the volume that they take up. The Milky Way is located in what is possibly the largest void known. There is no up or down. There is, but there also isn't. Direction is relative to where you are, and time is relative to how fast you're going, or how much mass you have. Everything is unsettling about space. If you've learned even a bit of our scientific understanding of what's out there, just looking at the stars at night in a low-light polluted area, it's enough to give me anxiety. Galaxies unfathomably huge and far away, looking like they did billions of years ago, who knows what they look like now as they're traveling away from us so fast the light will never reach us. Our brains cannot comprehend the scale of the never-ending nothingness that surrounds us. And in that mostly empty space is the potential for infinite life. Life that is likely too far for us to interact with, but no doubt it's out there. The alien life is not the creepy part, it's the vast nothingness for me. Being out in the middle of the enormous ocean, no land in sight on a tiny ship would give you a fraction of that feeling. The void is impossible for the human mind to encompass. Within the galaxy mankind calls home there are 300 billion stars. Around these revolve hundreds of billions of worlds, and the spaces between are crowded by a diversity of objects which defy enumeration. Mankind's galaxy is but one of trillions of galaxies in a universe of unguessable size. The distances between even proximate astronomical bodies are inconceivable to creatures evolved to walk the warmer regions of single small world. This is why the void cannot be understood. Not by men, nor by their machines. The Magi of Mars insist on their understanding, but their apprehension can only ever be an abstraction, dead numbers modeled by dead flesh cogitators. No matter how brutally expanded their minds, men cannot comprehend the majesty of the void. Every time we are able to look deeper we see more. The fact that there's millions of other galaxies just like ours and we think we're the only things alive. Like, where does space stop? Does it even stop in the first place? I just can't understand the fact that outside of our galaxy, there are millions upon billions of other galaxies and potentially other livable places where there are other people/aliens. Anyone who thinks we are the only planet with life is seriously thinking against the odds. I like to think about how we've only had tech for about 200 years now. Imagine civilizations 10,000 years ahead of us in the tech tree, or even 1 million years ahead. I shudder to think what they're capable of and what problems they are trying to solve today. I doubt we're the only life out there, but I also think that our definition of life is probably incredibly inadequate to describe what's out there. That said, I've stumped on this point before, but we only know of our own planet's life for the most part, our own conceptions of civilizations. We assume our version of intelligence is an evolutionary inevitability, but evolution is not a force dictating one event after another. It's possible that other life exists, and that it has reached equilibrium with its environment without needing to use tools or create societies or anything like that. The problem is that we don't know how likely life is to appear. We only know of ourselves, and life could be a 1 in 1 quintillion chance, or only a 1 in 100 chance, and we wouldn't know. There is no reason to believe that life is likely or unlikely, so really we can't make any guess as to if there is any other life in the observable universe. Not exactly a fact, but I think about this all the time. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another life, another hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant to tottering old man, a fairy or demigod, there's only one thing he can do: open fire and eliminate them. Cixin Liu, The Dark Forest. Even if we developed the technology to travel at the speed of light, we'll never reach/see the edge of the universe. Earth and the entire solar system are moving in a direction, so while reading this, Earth was in a point of space we will never be in again. This is why time travel would never really be feasible. Even if we could shoot a person back or forwards in time, it would take truly insane math to even keep them on the planet. The Earth is moving at 18.6 miles per second, just around the Sun. The Sun's also moving relative to the galaxy and the galaxy moving relative to others. It's really fast. The Hubble Space Telescope located a black hole in 2017 that is being manipulated by gravitational waves. The black hole, capable of devouring anything in its path, will eventually break free of its own galaxy and begin to roam the universe. Asteroids are often undetectable until after they pass Earth or very close to Earth, meaning that a killer asteroid could be coming our way but we haven't detected it. The Fermi paradox. It's more alien than space-related, but I think it counts. It's also a theory, not a fact. The theory is, we have not discovered any other sentient life because they get so advanced to the point in which they destroy themselves with infighting and advanced technology. What's even scarier, is that the same thing is theorized to occur to us. Nuclear World War III? The Fermi paradox, not to confuse with the theory you described, is not being able to reconciliate the sheer number of exoplanets out there, of which some are assumed to harbor life, in total in the gazillions, with lack of any evidence of extraterrestrial contacts with any entities we suspect live there. That's the paradox. If so many live out there, why don't we hear anything? Sound only travels through things, meaning any form of matter, meatloaf, banana, air, water, a wall, but since space is a vacuum, sound cannot travel. There have been reports by astronauts of hearing sounds coming from outside of the ship they were in, coming from space. For example, hearing knocks on the walls of the ship. TLDR, there's no sound in space, but astronauts have reported hearing sounds coming from outside of their ship in outer space. With the addition of more capable NASA-funded asteroid surveys over the years, NASA's NEO observations program is responsible for over 90% of near-Earth asteroid and comet discoveries. There are now over 18,000 known NEOs and the discovery rate averages about 40 per week. This was in 2018. A gamma-ray burst could potentially happen at any time in our galaxy. If the distance is right and the direction of the burst is towards Earth, it could have devastating effects on life, at least on the side facing the GRB. So far we have only seen GRBs outside our galaxy. The Sun is quite literally a deadly laser, aside from the UV radiation coming out of it, one off-position CME, coronal mass ejection, and we can kiss our electrical system goodbye as all the underwater cables are fried. The most unsettling thing about space is how much we don't know about it. The fear of the unknown is the deepest and oldest fear the human race has ever had. Neutron stars, devouring black holes, and exploding stars can shoot out a concentrated GRB, gamma-ray burst, which, if pointed at us, can turn Earth and humankind into a gray puff of dust, or a 10,000-piece 3D puzzle in no time at all. We also can't see it coming as it is traveling through space at the speed of light. That the universe is quiet. It's more than likely that other intelligent life exists, yet the universe is quiet. Makes me wonder what everyone is hiding from. For every radio transmission we make here on Earth, there's a chance it could be picked up by a hostile, highly advanced race of creatures and lead them directly back to us, ripe for the taking. Trying to inhale in space without a breathing apparatus will cause your lungs to basically implode. Our solar system is huge, but some things out there absolutely dwarf it, like UNsettling, the largest known black hole. It has a mass of 66 billion suns, which is more than our entire Milky Way, 64 billion solar masses. It's 390 billion km wide, or 40 times the distance from the Sun to Neptune. Some stars have died, so that means life could have been destroyed on those planets surrounding it. That could happen to us. Nobody can hear you scream. We will never know what lurks in the endless abyss of space, going into space and made a tiny mistake that now leaves you floating through space until you die from lack of oxygen or starvation. It has a smell. Now, that doesn't seem all that unsettling, until you realize what causes it. Space is so hostile. The radiation from a half-hour spacewalk had already zapped enough of the spacesuit so that you can actually smell the damage. I think we, down here, underestimate exactly how much the atmosphere of Earth protects us. There are many ways for the universe to end, two of which are likely. First scenario is where the universe continues to expand while still increasing in speed. Eventually it will be fast enough to overcome the gravity holding galaxies together, then solar systems together, then faster than light. Nothing will be able to interact with each other, and all will end in the scenario known as the Big Rip. Another way the universe will end is that as the universe expands there will be more and more dark matter, and gravity will overpower the expansion of the universe, having everything going to one point and collapsing into nothing, ending in the Big Crunch. That a giant rock could smash into us and we can't do anything about it. That a wild shooting star could fly by just close enough to disrupt our solar system so our planet could get closer or further from the Sun. Both of those things would be horrible. Black holes. Enough said. Or that there seems to be a giant hole 6 to 10 billion light-years away that is void of normal and dark matter and emits no detectable radiation or light. To me, it's like I tear in the universe and it's creepy. Edit, I just read a tiny more about it. They're called cosmic voids and there's multiple ones. That freaks me out so much. We are either alone in space or we are not alone in space. Each fact is equally terrifying. It is the sheer scale of space that gets me. There are places we can see with our telescopes, that if we launched a ship today that could go the speed of light, they would likely be overtaken by a more evolved species of human before they arrived. We couldn't even fly to the edge of our own galaxy because it is so vast. We see other galaxies with their billions of stars and they look dense and like you could zip from star to star, discovering solar systems and planets, but you can't. Each individual star could take from decades to thousands of years to travel between. If you want to put a Star Trek twist on it, the Enterprise D, Next Generation era, could just about squeeze warp 9.9 for a limited time, which is supposedly over 3,000 times the speed of light. But the entire Federation has only explored less than 20% of our own galaxy and has never been outside. It could still take weeks and months to travel places at that speed. If we assume black holes follow the classical understanding of their mechanics as derived by Einstein, so, they're not fuzzballs, then singularities are essentially manifestations of the universe dividing by zero. Take the simplified EQ for density, for example. Density equals mass/volume. According to the classical understanding of singularities, they have a quantifiable mass and zero volume. If you take the limit as the volume goes to zero, then the density of the object skyrockets to infinity. When studying black holes, we witness not just physical evidence of a divide by zero error, but of infinity itself contained in a finite region of space. What the fuck? People joke about creating a black hole by convincing their calculator to divide by zero, but their jokes aren't too off the mark. Some theories on the nature of black holes depict singularities as being a quantum object of near zero, but /not/zero volume, specifically, 10 to 35 meters, the theoretically smallest possible length. Space itself can be the Planck length. Out of the 19 astronauts and cosmonauts to die in fatal spaceflight accidents, only 3 actually died in space, above the Kármán line. The rest below the Kármán line. These don't include any training exercises. Out of those 19, only 4 were cosmonauts, despite Soviet unreliability of spacecraft. 15 astronauts in total died on Challenger and Columbia. The other died in an X-15 flight. 31 astronauts and cosmonauts have died in all flights and training exercises relating to spaceflight. There are theories of multiple things that could just end the universe. A gamma radiation burst. False vacuum decay. We know very little about the nature of our reality and it could just end at any moment. This is about space travel more than space itself. A lot of the chemicals used in space travel are super toxic. Like, they manage heat buildup on the ISS with liquid ammonia. And if you get any of that on you while outside the ship/station, it will freeze to your suit if you're not in direct sunlight. Also, if this happens, they can't let you back inside because the frozen ammonia will vaporize in the airlock, filter into the station, and most likely kill everyone. So you get to float outside until you get in the sun again, and it can vaporize all the chemicals off of your suit. And if you happen to run out of air while waiting, tough shit. You die. In the 50s, Russians were sending cosmonauts up in death trap capsules and ham radio operators on Earth were receiving signals of them burning to death. In a few billion years the sun will transition into another type of star and the planets close to it will be destroyed. But don't worry, before that the Andromeda Galaxy will collide with the Milky Way. So we'll probably already be dead. If you spin out of control up there, you'll do it for as long as you live. If you overlay the universe and the brain's neural mapping, they align almost perfectly. In a way, our brain is a universe of its own. Something that makes no sense to me is the fact that our universe could theoretically have occurred billions of times in an ever-repeating cycle of entropy. In the grand sum of things, our existence is basically meaningless. Even if you cure cancer, end world hunger, or win the Nobel Prize, you are not going to be remembered. We are so astronomically insignificant, that the only thing which can be said to be significant about our existence is the fact that we experience it. Black holes. Most black holes aren't rouge, they just stay where they are. What makes them creepy is beyond how they're just as black as the space surrounding them, it's how strong their gravity is. As far as humanity knows, nothing could escape them, not even light. You go across the event horizon trying to send information back to Earth about what's inside them. Good luck with that. You and your data are going to die. Stuck in an object so strong which may not evaporate for over billions or trillions of years. Or even longer. Black holes are scary, But the worst type of black hole is the rouge one. These types of black holes literally will move throughout the galaxy/universe. Their speed? 28 miles a second. If a black hole came in contact with our solar system, it wouldn't be like an asteroid where destroying it is possible but would require technology we don't have at the moment. It would suck in most if not all the solar system. Saturn. Gone. Earth. More than likely gone. The Sun. Sucked in there. Eventually even these will die but like this post said, billions of years, trillions or even longer. Maybe it's just better to stay on Earth instead of going into space. Big rocks have hit the Earth many times over the millions of years and changed the climate to uninhabitable temps and atmosphere. It's a fact it will happen many more times. Look up at the moon. It looks like 100 meteors have hit it in the last week. Oops, did I say that? Almost every star in the night sky might have died years before I was born and I'll never know during my life. Infinite. Therefore, space is not endless, and we already proven that it's expanding. Which means that if you reach the end of space, you just reach the end of where matter is scattered in space. When you travel further, you're just moving through nothing, which means that you're not really traveling, since you're not covering any distance relative to anything. Therefore, space isn't infinite. Mwah. There is a constant non-zero chance that we could all die at any time from a gamma-ray burst, asteroid impact, etc. Imagine, after everything humanity goes through on Earth, and one day it ends. Maybe the Earth would explode. The universe will go on without us for eternity, and any other living organisms out there will have never known a place called Earth. There's no sound in space. The crazy vastness of the universe, the probability of other sentient life that may even be 100 times smarter than us, is actually cool for the curious mind. The astrophysics things can't truly scare me because I understand very little of them. But complete and utter silence of space scares the bejesus out of me, right down to the very core. I hate when it becomes too silent in the city at night. I'm terrified at the thought it could be so absolute. The fact that we will be trapped in our galaxy for 3.4 billion years. Okay, so the universe is expanding slightly faster than light speed, which means that we can't reach the borders of the universe, not even another galaxy. Scientists say that Milky Way, our galaxy, will be merging with another galaxy called Andromeda in roughly 3.4 billion years. There is a star relatively nearby that may go supernova anytime soon, may have gone supernova long ago, but it's light years away, where in the event of a supernova its gamma-ray burst will take away enough of our ozone layer that Earth will lose most of its atmosphere due to solar winds. Space isn't a vacuum. It's filled with different kinds of radiation and cosmic rays. Additionally, space is full of microscopic rocks and debris left over from passing comets and the like. They pose no threat to us on Earth, but a spaceship traveling at high speeds needs some kind of deflector to push these aside. My favorite, dark flow. Long story short, once you account for the expansion of the universe, the velocity of galaxy clusters left over should be random. It's not. Everything we can see appears to be moving in the same direction, specifically toward a spot near the constellation of Centaurus. If you calculate the distance of the spot everything is moving toward, it turns out to be outside the observable universe. There is, or used to be, something very very massive out there, in the deep, and it's far enough away that we will never know what it is, or was. Given the sheer size of the universe, there is almost certainly intelligent life out there. Given the sheer size of the universe, we will never even detect the slightest hint of their existence. When you look up at night, you're not looking up, you're looking out. You have a front row seat into the infinite inky void of the universe. There's only like 30 to 80 miles of increasingly thin air between you and it. Metals can fuse together at the atomic level just by colliding, and paint flecks traveling 17,500 miles per hour can punch a hole through a space shuttle. Stars can actually come back to life. You heard me right, type ya supernovae die, become a white dwarf, and can under ideal circumstances create a massive supernova. This sucks in nearby material from stars, and it brings itself to life. Imagine a doctor saying clear on a cosmic level. Yes, it's obviously, but I find it creepy that we're on a rock that can withhold oxygen, water and life, and the entire universe is endless. No one really stops to think how tiny we truly are. People often think of space as either going left, or right, but completely forget there's no such thing as left, right, or up, down in space. Choose a direction, and you'll travel until the end of time. It's impossible to grasp the amount of space that's in space. Lol. We could have a black hole floating towards us and we wouldn't even know it necessarily, until it was too late. Supposedly, there are like 100 million of those things floating around our galaxy. Eventually black holes will suck up everything and then fall into each other, creating one massive black hole, and then there will be literally nothing left. Maybe after that happens another Big Bang goes off and we start again. Nope. The universe isn't contracting, or even going to contract in a big crunch. Its expansion is accelerating, and to date we don't know why. The end will likely be a heat death scenario. Stuff being simply too spread out for any interesting things to happen.